How's Arizona Cardinals top pick Walter Nolen III acclimating to the NFL level? We hear from Walt. Also, is Kyler Murray going to take home a championship, Johnny?
I don't know who this is. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. Hello, it's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's the returning Brack. It's Spirit Week 2025 here at PHNX Sports. Noah man behind the mic, my dear co-host. How we living? Welcome back.
Clocking back in for work, Johnny Venerable. Excited to be back. Mama, little one, doing great. The Brack family overwhelmed by all your well wishes. Thank you to everybody out there. We went June 5th into a hospital as a family of 3. We're now a family of 4 and thriving. Look at that. What's up, Booms? I see you. How about Tony Schaff? Always in the chaff. Ryan Walker, Mr. Fat Gangster, Lorenzo T. Clearly, that boy OD. Love it. Big Bird 92. Jacob, the squad. That's right. Booms. Easy. Tread lightly. No, it's not named after Luke Skywalker, but yes, my new son's name is Luke, and we're excited about that.
People are talking. Welcome back, Bo. So fired up. We have to debrief minicamp, which you were paying attention from afar. Want to get your takeaway on that. Of course, had a chance to catch up with Walter Nolen earlier today as the 16th overall pick, met with the Arizona media. I do first want to say, in honor of Spirit Week, we are repping some of our favorite gear in the history of the merchandise locker. Spirit Week 2025, 30% off. I love this t-shirt, the celebratory tee, which I'm told we are getting a restock of. You can get this eventually at gophnx.com, but you can pick up Bo's shirt, the Southwest Bias shirt right now, 30% off, allcityshop.com.
The East Coast bias is very real. Southwest bias is to combat that. And I think it's a simple but cool shirt. It's black. It's got the flag. It's got Southwest biased. When you're traveling abroad, you can let people know that you are a Southwest sports fan. And so many great items in the locker right now. You got to check it out. As Johnny pointed out, the flash sale, 30% off, and restocking some of our faves out there. So take advantage of that. Man, it is, it really is a fun time to kind of like look at how far we've come as a company. And this whole week, we are going to be celebrating that. And most importantly, friends that are diehards out there, including a Friday show that we'll give you a little insight on, but pretty much it's going to go Die Hard Day, basically the show that you're going to build. Like, no longer is Johnny, myself, and Noah going to put on our hard hat and put together a show that day. That belongs to all of you, my friends.
T-shirt day today. We got a mystery guest. Popping in tomorrow, and then we're going to let somebody play musical chairs with us on Wednesday. We got our Big Brothers, Big Sisters partnership highlighted on Thursday. And as Bo mentioned, Die Hard Day on Friday. More on this. In the meantime, do us a favor. Like this stream. Like it for the returning Brack to my right here. We're so fired up to have him back. And we're getting our bearings about us, just like the Cardinals, who broke minicamp last week. We had a chance to catch up with Keaton Crawford, Denzel Burke. Check out those interviews. They were in studio on Friday. And so before we jump into Walter Nolen, before we jump into today's topics at hand, I do want to ask my co-host, as he was undoubtedly cradling his newborn while on Twitter because he's a sicko and he can't quit this game. Mm-hmm. What was some of your takeaways from minicamp? Anything that you heard, that you saw in relation to our show. Anything that jumped out that you have to get off your chest? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Oh man, so many things, but mostly just kind of the tight knitness of the Arizona Cardinals. It seems like it's a business mentality. There isn't a whole lot of messing around. It seems like they were getting in, they're going to get out, but you can tell that the camaraderie, the team, the cohesiveness is there, and that's all about the culture, because I think it's a bunch of like-minded players in that locker room along with the coaching staff. And obviously with the talent upgrade, I think with that, it's just all bodes well to the Arizona Cardinals being on kind of the precipice of something special, of really kind of cracking through in year 3 of this rebuild and really doing something special that this organization hasn't seen since 2021. I will say this, as I returned from paternity leave a week, and man, did I miss all of you. And it was tough to stay away. The last time I had a child was 2021.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well. So is lightning gonna strike twice? The Arizona Cardinals going to return to the postseason another year that a Brack enters this world.
Well, if that happens, then I guess better have a kid every year. Hope you guys are ready for that financial burden.
And we're on we're on the Phillip Rivers family building path.
The softball team. Drop a like. We're fired up to have you back. I'm with you. I think the common denominator consistently is this team, the closeness knit of this team. You hear Walter Nolen speak on this draft class, but I don't know. There doesn't have that feel like this is the first time the team's been active in the offseason since Keim was here. And that always felt like just a bunch of mercenaries, spare parts kind of jumbled together. Like, hey, go figure it out. You guys are good football players. Like it really is cliche as it sounds. Like the Cardinals are putting together a team and there's a rhyme to the reason. You bring in Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell to work with Walter Nolen. You obviously want to raise the bar with Josh Sweat and you draft Jordan Birch, right? You've got Will Johnson ready to take over potentially for Sean Murphy-Bunting. There are a lot of just like common denominators that are easy to get to. And then the offense, I mean, we talked about it ad nauseum. It is literally just like, we're just slamming down the button. We're running it back. The continuity is there. And they better be right with that. And right. they certainly, you talk to everybody there, they feel like they are correct. Like this is the right decision. You know, I saw Monty Ossenford talking with the flagship radio station, just like, no, we like our pieces. We're going to roll with them. So we like
but
our
it's not
pieces.
like blind faith. It's not
Right.
like, well, we like these guys and we just want to give them a chance. We're just going to, we think through the power of friendship that this offense is just going to be better. Even though it's the same parts, and you know, hopefully it's evolved as far as the scheme and as far as what those parts are able to and grasp and how they're going to be able to kind of really like break down the play and how they're going to execute plays. Like is execution going to take it another step here in year 3 under Drew Petzing? Like that, it's not just a blind faith, even though there's people who are stand there and just say Petzing's not the guy. Petzing's not the guy, or the Kyler haters out there and say maybe it's a quarterback problem, where there's an extreme amount of conviction from the architect of this team, the general manager, as you said, Monty Ossenford, who wasn't just kind of saying, well, we're just going to run it back one more time and just see if it works. And Jonathan Gannon just says, well, yeah, you're right. Let's just give it one more try. Like it's a relationship, just trying to just force it to work, even though all the writing's on the wall. There's not like fatal red flags as far as this relationship. There's actually, to use like more like current parlance, like there's green flags that I think that they want to see go up this year offensively.
I think there's so much meat left on the bone that they entrust their coach. If you feel like this is a coaching staff that deserves extensions and deserves accolades, like then you trust that they're going to be able to get it done this year. Again, drop a like in the chat. Fired up today. Isaiah Simmons maybe took a shot at the Cardinals. We're going to talk about that later in the show. But let's start with the 16th overall pick, Bo. You had a chance to connect with Walter Nolen for the first time since he joined us on set last month at Kyler Murray's Celebrity Softball game. Your takeaways from the old ex-Ole Miss All-Star.
Yeah, this is a guy I think that's getting up to speed at an accelerated rate. Like it's very reminiscent, Johnny, of Paris Johnson Jr. There was a point where we talked to PJ in his rookie season, and they said, "How are you acclimating? Do you feel like a rookie?" And he's like, "I didn't feel like a rookie." And I'm talking and paraphrasing what Paris Johnson Jr. told us was once he got his bearings as far as where he needed to be, and then got his process locked in, he didn't have the rookie feel. Now, certainly there's like the NFL, which is it can humble you very quickly. It's the best league of its kind. And, Walter Nolen has to get on grass and he has to get under the lights as far as, actually real action. But as far as him fitting in being there with, the other defensive linemen, other defensive players, the Arizona Cardinals, I think he fits right in. And there isn't this certain feel of like, well, you got to give him time because he's a rookie. I think this is a guy that they view as an impact maker right away. And you can already feel a sense of confidence that has grown with the 16th overall pick, who was a very confident kid coming out of Ole Miss, continues to grow. So we just kind of got that from him. We heard from him a couple times today. We got a couple clips that we'd love to share with you as far as just the overall kind of camaraderie going on as far as the defensive line room. And then also, just how he feels like he's acclimating. So we'll get into all that. But yeah, let's look into, Walter Nolen and him kind of piggybacking what we heard from Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson last week. This is Walt talking about the brotherhood that is the D-line room.
Well, just being around guys like DT and Calais, I feel like they're going to take me to where I need to get, especially, they on the back end of their career. So I feel like they put me in the spot where they wish they were at. So.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't think the Cardinals signed Calais and Dalvin Tomlinson to be mentors. I think we know they signed them in free agency to help them win games. Like PFF has a breakdown. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow of like reason for optimism for all 32 teams. And Cardinals was the revamped defensive line. Like Calais Campbell was like the number 1 or number 2 run defender last year at defensive tackles. Like he was like we all saw. Like Calais Campbell was excellent last year. Dalvin Tomlinson way better than anything they had. So like they signed those guys to be an improvement, respectfully, over Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. Then it's just a coup that you get a Walter Nolen. Like they didn't think Walter Nolen was going to be available for them. Like we were talking ourselves into Shamar Stewart or trading down or maybe an offensive tackle. And it's like, okay, Walter Nolen is available. Oh yeah, this is a huge benefactor now of let's just add him to the group. Like there were concerns until Austin Ford pulled the trigger of like, could they take how many defensive linemen can they take? But to Austin Ford's credit, it just comes down to, we're just going to get the best players. Like, last offseason be damned, sans Darius Robinson and maybe Dante Stills, like everybody else, step aside, not good enough, not available. So you look at the infrastructure now of this group, it's like, okay, well, I know Walter Nolen can play, and now he's got 2 guys that have been playing that were drafted high for 10 plus years. Calais Campbell's going on year 19. I mean, it's just, that's a built-in benefit now that you can lean on.
Yeah, and I think that you're gonna see the true benefits of running a rotation, like because of the additions or the influx of all the talent on the defensive line. They're not just rotating guys to rotate them to keep them healthy. Like they're rotating in guys with diverse skill sets, bodies, and ability to win. That is going to set this defensive line to where they can confuse opposing offenses and they can overpower opposing offenses. And it's, Walter Nolen and Darius Robinson, I think, fit to a T what they want to project to be. And then you got the guys, like you said, with Calais and Dalvin coming in. It's they're not bringing Calais Campbell back to be the feel-good story of the summer. Like this isn't, whatever, like the next Pixar Elio movie is out there. Yeah. Like it's not going to like just warm your heart, even though I don't know what that movie is really going to be about.
I think
sure,
it's
like
I'll aliens. See it.
Yeah. But like, they're not just like, oh, let's just make, the fan base. Here's something that could be a kind of a tick up for the fans to go. No, like you said, Calais Campbell, effective against the run. Dalvin Tomlinson, as far as where he played at his size, his pass rush rain rate was, through the roof. 2 guys that were SEC ass kickers to steal from you is like Darius Robinson and Walter Nolen can win several different ways. And it's like you put that up against an interior offensive line or somebody on the tackle position, and they're not going to know what they're going to see on any given down. I think it's a true advantage. And their version of what won on the final Sunday of the NFL season in the Super Bowl for the Eagles.
Well, does everybody remember Dan Williams? He was the last defensive tackle, sans Kim Dichie, that they drafted in the first round. He went to Tennessee, and he fell. He fell into the 20s in 2010. And there were concerns that he was going to come into camp overweight. I think
Bad
they were
body
like,
guy.
yeah, he was, and he liked to eat, and they always talked about he would drink a bunch of Gatorade and like. So what did the Cardinals do right before camp? I think they re-signed a guy by the name of Brian Robinson, who was a journeyman who had been around the team, was not a great player anymore, but they literally were like, we're signing Brian Robinson because we want. And I remember the team released a clip, and it was like Brian Robinson talking to Dan Williams saying, I'm here to help you get to where you need to be, right? Not, hey, you were a first rounder. You have the tools. We're going to develop you because we know what we're doing. And this wasn't even, this is Ken Wisenhunt Rodgraves.
Yeah.
And it's them telling you without telling you. He's like, we don't trust this guy. We're not sure we can develop him. And Dan was fine. He had a nice career. He didn't get his 5th-year option picked up. That is not what's happening here.
He got a good contract, I think, from Oakland.
Yeah. Like he was just a 2-down run stuffing nose tackle.
Mm-hmm.
But that clip is embedded in my brain because it's just like, there are teams that do that, which is like, we got to go sign so-and-so to babysit so-and-so, right? That is not what's happening here. It would not shock anybody if Walter Nolen is starting the first game of the season. And Calais Campbell, what if Calais Campbell's just not listed as a starter? You think that's going to piss off Calais Campbell? No, as you mentioned, there's a rotation, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to accommodate a lot of mouths now, and it's a great problem to have. We have moved on from the poverty defensive line that was the last 2 years to what I think is the greatest turnaround in recent memory for this team. Darius Robinson looks like flipping the Incredible Hulk during minicamp. We know Walter Nolen can play. Calais, Dalvin Tomlinson, Dante Stills, and then what's going on with Blau Nichols, not available. Nobody talks about. We're going to hear Walter Nolen's talking about Calais and Dalvin Tomlinson. He's not talking about Justin Jones. So there's a hierarchy being built now. And it's a group. We got a group of about 4 to 6 guys, and everybody else step aside kindly. Yeah,
no, Dan Williams, unfortunately, was one of those guys. Like, he looked at the snack table, he gained 10 pounds. It was just unfortunate. And you always have the question, but he was always ready to go. He was always ready to play for the Cardinals each and every Sunday, and he's a very likable guy. And unfortunately, like, the Cardinals, it's too few and far between, like Dan Williams and Calais Campbell. Like, there wasn't a whole lot of talent on that defensive line, but now it seems like they're stock full of defensive players and talent, and they're going to have to make some tough decisions come the end of training camp as far as trying to get their roster from 90 to 53. But man, it's as far as like Walter Nolen and those guys, the romantic idea, and we see it all the time. Like, we see it at every position. Hey, bring in a veteran to show this guy. We saw it all offseason long with Marvin Harrison Jr. And it's like, I don't think Jonathan Gannon and this organization subscribe to it because they're confident in their ability as coaches. Like, if I'm worth my salt as a coach, you're not going to have some guy come in and say, hey, let me take your hand and let me lead you to show you what it means to be a professional. Like, what's the whole thing as far as what do you learn about these rookies as soon as they get into the organization? As you pointed out, every single rookie still with the organization is that they have the ability to dial in their process and be a pro. And if they have that already, what does it mean to go in and just get a guy to come in and be a hand holder, mentor, big brothers, big sisters guy, when you just, like, as much as we love them, we love big brothers, big sisters, but it's not necessary with the Cardinals. This isn't a charity. This isn't just to help people who, kids in the city. This is about winning football games and getting players that have the right mindset to put themselves in a position to do so.
We're here to win games, guys.
Yeah.
And the coaches are paid to draft and develop. Like, Austin Ford is paid to pick the right players for the Gannon staff to develop them. That's the game now. Like, I love J.J. Watt. He was a nice signing for what it was. They signed J.J. Watt because they couldn't develop players and they couldn't draft
that much. When I was doing Lockdown Cardinals with Clancy back then, and Clancy jumped in on that quote from Cliff Kingsbury, this is maybe a frosty cold take. I scoffed at that. I was like, there's no way a professional coach is really means that J.J. Watt was going to take on in the leadership role that they expected. I was wrong.
It's exactly what they literally, and again, it's a big reason why. I mean, Cliff's going to get another shot, we assume. Like, that's going to be the trend he's got to buck is I can lead. I can lead, man. I can develop. Like, we know Jonathan Gannon can. You spend 5 minutes around Jonathan Gannon, you're like, oh, not a problem here. And so you don't have to waste your precious cap dollars on, I got to go to get a babysitter for Walter Nolen. It's like, nope, I think we're pretty good here. How good can Walter Nolen be? We do a tail of the tape, a comp with one of his marquee draft comparisons. Plus, where does James Conner rank according to PFF amongst his running back peers? Wulbrecht is back. It's PHNX Cardinals. I'm back on the FIFA World Cup games, baby. You can too right now. Check them out with our friends at Game Time. If you're in the area, check out Game Time. It started yesterday. It goes through mid-July. Again, if you're in the area, you can attend. You can attend with our friends at Game Time. You can also get last-minute tickets for NBA postseason action. They've got, of course, we've got the NHL, Stanley Cup Finals, and of course, we got baseball. We got baseball here in our backyard with the Snakes doing a little bit better, right? We don't know what they're going to do at the trade deadline, but regardless, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, use that bonus code PHNX, $20 off your first purchase. Again, I was at WWE Raw a week ago today. It was outstanding, right? Got my tickets with Game Time, waited late, sweating it out with my son, got a great deal at the Footprint. Terms and conditions apply. Again, PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute ticket, lowest price, Bo, guaranteed.
Oh man, we see the temperatures reach 110 plus as of Saturday. It's continuing. We're in the thick of it, our friends. Summer's here. Your patio feels more like an oven than an oasis. It's time to call our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts at 623-204-1476 and allproshadeconcepts.com. They'll transform your outdoor space with custom fit awnings in hundreds of colors, designs to match any home, and even they got that pesky HOA to approve. They'll just sweet talk them. They're gonna be no longer having you to deal with that thorn in your side. Motorized awnings come with remote control, built-in LED lighting, and also you can enjoy evenings under the stars in style with All Pro Shade Concepts. Voted #1 ranking Arizona patio shades in 2024. Thousands of 5-star reviews, A+ rating with the BBB. That's the Better Business Bureau for my friends out there who don't know. But locally owned and trusted for 20 years, licensed, bonded, insured. Call 623-204-1476, 623-204-1476. That's that West Valley area code, right? Visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate.
As a part of All-City Spirit Week, we're teaming up with our friends, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, an incredible group creating life-changing mentorships for kids across the country. We've set a goal, $10,000. We'd love to smash through that right now, and we can with your help. You can donate with us using the button in the chat. You want to make it an even bigger impact. You can also sign up to become a big by visiting BBS. That's bbbs.org/allcity. Let's do something meaningful together this week. Walter Nolen hoping to have a big time, meaningful impact for the Arizona Cardinals en route to what could be a special rookie season. Walter Nolen on handling his business this fall for the Arizona Cardinals.
You know, I'm not the most talkative person, but every day I'm going to come in and I'm going to handle my handle, you know. And I'm not one of those people that you're going to have to, you know, worry about what's going on. I know what I'm here for, and I know what I'm going to bring to the table. So, I mean, I feel like just me being me, I feel like I can help in any way possible, honestly. But it's just whatever the coaches got planned for me to do for them, and I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities.
Handle my handle. Put that on a t-shirt right now.
He's debunking all the nonsense that was said about him in the pre-draft process. It really is. I mean, nothing that we've seen validates any of that crap that was said about him, right? Like you can talk about how many high schools he went to, entering the transfer portal, leaving a bad Texas A&M program, and competing at Ole Miss, who was in to the very end fighting for a college football playoff spot, had one of the best defenses in the country because of Walter Nolen.
Yeah.
He's just any of the crap that you read that was alongside as far as some of the cons, as far as drafting him. I think he's doing a good job in debunking that. And then also like part of one thing he said, I asked him about, you know, the funny quote about Gannon being in the cafeteria line with Nolen, and he's, you know, making a fist. He's like, I need this much broccoli or whatever. I asked him about that, and he's now just kind of, because of the Cardinals training staff, nutrition staff, taking in consideration like the benefits of that. So you already see a guy who plays at a big weight and is naturally just a big kid at 6'3", nearly 300 pounds. That's going to now have like the ability to kind of chisel himself up a little bit and put himself in a good place nutrition wise because of the Cardinals and their training staff.
Walter Nolen had a lot of pro comps coming out. Milton Williams got thrown around just because of the Cardinals association with Milton Williams this offseason. They had John Franklin Myers was kind of a lazy one, I thought, from NFL.com. And then there were the aggressive ones, right? And the most aggressive, and partially because maybe of how he's going to be used, is that of one Fletcher Cox, which led us to do a little bit of a deep dive, a tale of the tape. Not, of course, what Fletcher Cox has done as a pro. He's likely going to be a borderline NFL Hall of Famer. He and Jonathan Gannon famously didn't get along early on in their tenure with Philly, but Cox was a menace all the same. And so we put together a very much comparable tale of the tape for Cox and Walter Nolen. Noah, man, let's see it. This is post-graduation in college. Both came out almost identical, 6'4", 300 pounds, drafted 4 spots between each other. Now, here's where I'll give Cox the benefit. He had a faster 20-yard shuttle. He also ran the 40. Back then, in what was it, 2012 or 2011 when this was, everybody had to run the 40. You couldn't sit it out like you can now. They're separated by just 3 bench press reps. As is a career ass kicker in the SEC, Walter Nolen has 4 more sacks. Both of them were lofty All-Americans. They play the same position. They're also lauded for their quickness and point of attack. So looking at this, it's easy to see where people draw this conclusion. Fletcher Cox, like Walter Nolen, also had on the surface level character, quote unquote, concerns that Bo just put water on. They were also at, and I think it's just because some of these guys, as long as you don't fault their love for football, kind of vibe to the beat of their own drum, right? Like Walter Nolen is not Calais Campbell at the microphone. That's okay. Is he a great football player? Fletcher Cox rubbed people the wrong way to the end. He was a great football player. And I just think as you spend more time with this, you can see why these comparisons are worth a second look, Bo.
Yeah, it is kind of a little eerie, right? I mean, these are very similar numbers. I mean, you see the sack numbers, obviously, for Walter Nolen up a bit, and then just the 3 bench reps. I'm surprised that the 20-yard shuttle was that high for Walter Nolen after watching him do a couple things on the field. But, you know, this is great news for the Cardinals and what he projects to be, and then also coupling that with just who the prospect is coming in here. And you know, a lot has to go right for Walter Nolen to have a career to come close to Fletcher Cox. But if he is somebody that at least in the first half of this contract that makes an impact similar to that in any way, I mean, the Cardinals are going to be in a great spot.
Fletcher Cox, freak show. He did run a 4.79 40. And coming out of high school was like under 4.5 or 4.6. Yeah. Walter Nolen was never officially clocked, but his projected time via Yahoo Sports was right around 4.9. So anything for a defensive tackle like sub 5 is great, but it's that first, 5, 10, 15 yards explosiveness that really is what's going to get you to perk up. And I mean,
the quick feet too, that Walter Nolen that you've seen on full display, like you can look at the numbers and you can pit him against, him or his draft classmates. You just know that Walter Nolen is going to be just quick enough and nimble enough to do anything you want as far as the defensive line position.
Did you think it was interesting not to jump from D tackle to D tackle? So Calais talked about Walter and Darius and everybody, and then he brought up, because somebody in the chat brings it up, Isaiah Simmons has been running with the ones this week, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Dalvin Tomlinson's on a pitch count because it's training camp. But is Isaiah Simmons like the potential nose tackle 2 on the defensive line? Like, who else would compete for that spot? He's undrafted out of Tennessee. I mean, is that a scenario in which this young man's maybe being groomed for a larger role this fall?
Well, you and I, like when they made the decision or they brought him in as an undrafted rookie free agent, I mean, we saw the path for a guy like Elijah Simmons just because of where he plays, being able to be a true nose potentially for this team. It's not a position that they necessarily need to be super deep at because of all the multiple fronts that they show. But it is important, I think, to have a true nose. And if Dalvin Tomlinson, if anything ever happened to him, like could you practice squad a guy like Elijah Simmons? I think it's somebody they like. I think the path exists, but it's going to come down to like Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones. We pointed out profile a little bit bigger than some of the other defensive linemen. Could they? And they've had experience playing that. Simmons is going to have to match up with those guys and show that he's maybe a better play going forward. But no, I mean, the path exists. It's very real that Elijah Simmons. I think that's why we liked him as far as this crop. Like we saw Justin Fry on the offensive. I'm sorry. Who am I thinking? Josh Fry.
Josh Fryer.
Yeah, Josh Fryer.
Under Justin Fry.
Yeah, under Justin Fry at Ohio State. And, a tight end, a wide receiver, like those are all positions that are completely full. But like the nose tackles, the true nose spot, like Elijah Simmons has an ability to maybe play in a bit of a niche position relative to his organization, maybe make a roster or stay within the organization.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think this defensive line is going to be such a gauntlet. We're like 9 weeks away. So the final cut to 53 is late August. It was August 27th last year. I mean, like we'll have a pretty good idea. I mean, they have 3 preseason games, and it's going to be, I mean, if you're LJ Collier, Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones, Elijah Simmons, Dante Stills, like that's a group of 5 that are competing for what, 2 spots maybe?
Yeah.
Because we know right now who are the locks to make it on this defensive line, injury notwithstanding.
You're right.
Calais, Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Robinson, Walter Nolen, like those are 4 locks. And last year they kept 6 to 7 at the position consistently. So it's like 2 other openings. I don't know. To me, and I've gone back to this, they have the money to swallow dead cap for a single year. Is it worth it to throw away a young, appreciating asset? Like, say what you want about Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. In my opinion, they are depreciating. They could help you this year, right? And I think there's still an expectation. But, like, they're in their late 20s for a reason, approaching 30 years old. Elijah, go ahead.
I mean, just outside of what they had before their Cardinals tenure started, the durability, they need to show more than that. Like that's no longer something they can hang their hat on. It's like, no, you have to be impact makers, like, because that room is full of them. So I was like, can you separate yourself? Can you stand out in that room? And Elijah Simmons is going to have the same uphill climb. Like what are you going to be able to do that's going to be able to separate yourself and put you into the 6 guys that they could potentially take?
I'll tell you what else is not good news.
2 spots
for those guys is Gannon. I don't know if you caught this last week, and I don't think this is going to be like his MO. You talked about Jordan Burch last week and like saying like Jordan Burch can play all over the defensive line. Like that would freak me out if I'm one of those other. You're not cutting Jordan Burch. Jordan Burch projects to be an edge rusher. They're like, well, we're seeing some things that we saw on tape where we can move him around. Well, there's only one other spot for Jordan Burch, who's almost 300 pounds to play. And it's sliding inside on certain passing situations. So that would not make me feel like we have seen with this team. If you're depreciating expensive asset, you are gone, right? We're going to talk about, Isaiah Simmons here in a little bit. Sean Murphy Bunting injured, likely gone. Like they want cheap ascending talent, right? And they have done a hell of a job. Like Dante Stills is their one defensive lineman before Darius, and they're 1 for 1. Like, and now they've got an influx of like 3 or 4 guys. To me, it does not bode well for a lot of the veterans on this roster.
It's like it probably is inevitably going to be an unpopular decision no matter which direction they go, right? Yeah. Unless it's just both, Nichols and Jones on the chopping block, and then everybody else is saved, which is, it's possible, right? But I don't think it's like the only way. You're going to see maybe one or both make the roster, and you're going to see guys like Stills and like just read the chat. Like, people are infatuated by Simmons, and it's easy to see why. Like the video we posted where he's throwing down a dunk at his size, 6'1", 330 pounds, and then making a full court shot, right? Like he's Steph Curry. You're like, man, that's cool. That's fun. He's wide. He plays violent. But then you're like, played 6 years at Tennessee. He went undrafted. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. Like I understand what you can get excited about, but also let's be realistic about. You got to establish guys that have played NFL downs on this roster that he's going to have to beat out. And like, is he going to be able to, just because, like the old GM used to puff his chest out and say, hey, look what I found, and maybe use that as or view it as a reason to keep somebody. Is like, this team wants to keep the best players that give them a chance to win. And I just don't think like Simmons being an undrafted rookie free agent really holds too much weight. I don't know if there's anything beyond like that holds much weight more than who's going to be the best person to roster going forward.
It is a what have you done for me lately league. And I take a lot from him practicing with the ones. I take a lot with him being healthy enough to practice. Like Bilal Nichols is not healthy and cannot practice.
Not good. Yeah, that's not good.
That's not a good omen. At least if you're BJ Ojulari, you're on a rookie deal and you are a made man and they will wait for you on your rookie deal. If you're Bilal Nichols, I mean, we didn't bring up, they re-signed LJ Collier this offseason, who was good for them last year. It's about upside. It's about who's going to help us with this grind of this season that we're trying to win an NFC West championship for the first time in 10 years. And it's about making the fiscally responsible decision long-term. And if you're just going to cut Bilal Nichols next offseason or Justin Jones because you feel like you can upgrade, as long as the drop-off isn't too severe, I'm going with the young players. But you're right. There will be an inevitable mutiny on their hands on the Twitter streets if they – I mean, every time. And I feel bad for them. And if Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, if they get cut, will go to another team and sign with another team. Like they will get another opportunity. They're big, huge men. There's only so many of them in the world. They're the top 1%ers. But, like, if they're kept and – we have a draft darling or an undrafted draft darling in this case that gets cut, and it's like he's available for another team to sign. People are going to be upset because it's the love of the aura of the unknown with them. Mm-hmm. Seeing what those two D tackles did and didn't do last year.
Yeah, it's just, you just hope that the main group, like the four, and then whoever's fortunate enough to crack, the back end of that, don't make you think twice about it. You're not saying, oh, well, here's Simmons. He's on this 53, or look at what Jones is doing on the Titans or whatever. It's you got to make sure. And I like, as much as you trust Austin Fort, Dave Sears, Jonathan Gannon in their scouting, as far as the draft process, that they're going to make the right decision. And I think they've earned that to this point. So, but we see it people asked every day throughout the season, leading up to the season, and then throughout the year, where the hell's Michael Carter? Like they are not afraid to make an unpopular move.
That's true. I don't like that you said that because that's very true. 9 defensive linemen of note: Nolen, Robinson, Campbell, Tomlinson, Jones, Nichols, Collier, Stills, and Elijah Simmons for potentially 6 spots. It will be an absolute bloodbath. 9 guys.
They didn't have one in 2023. Now one.
How dare you, Roy Lopez?
At this point, we didn't know about Dante Stills. We just knew he was a TFL machine out of West Virginia in the 6th round.
We have since leveled up. PFF, Bo, to change topics here, released their top running backs. We're going to break down where James Conner sits behind this corner. Plus, what's Isaiah Simmons' deal? Why is he talking? And who's interviewing him? That's coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals.
What's this guy's deal?
What's this guy's deal? I'll tell you what Gila's deal is. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Great time, great food, great vibes. Bet, watch, and win with BetMGM. It's sportsbook at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Catch a game, catch a sportsbook activity with some friends, some family. Go to BetMGM Sportsbook at Gila. Take in the phenomenal foods, vibes. They've got NBA playoffs going on. They got PGA championship matchups. They've got the French Open. Indy 500. Place your bets and experience the excitement now, and then do an overnight like Bo and I are going to be doing later this summer. Check out our watch alongs that I all got but confirmed got that we will be back at Gila this fall, every away game Sunday. And again, it was the only thing saving us last year. Cardinals couldn't win a road game to save our lives, but Gila River Resorts and Casinos, they're a lifesaver. Visit playatgila.com, Bo, for more details.
At Mountain America Credit Union, they're committed to helping over 1 million members thrive with over 100 branches throughout the West. Yeah, you win that money over Gila, go put it in the bank over at Mountain America Credit Union. Right now, you can earn 2 times the points on all rewards credit card purchase through July 31st. So the next month and a half, you can earn 2 times the points. Just use your Mountain America rewards card and watch the points pile up. It's perfect for gas, groceries, travel, home projects, and just about everything else that you buy and purchase. This promotion's way easier to stretch your dollars since you're earning twice as many rewards. You can redeem double points for things like travel rebates, gift cards, event tickets, and more. But don't wait. It's a limited time offer. As we said, take advantage while you can. Details at macu.com/double. That's macu.com/double. Loans approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Like I said, checking them out. Mountain America Credit Union.
Big thanks to all of our sponsors today. Drop a like in this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Let's get our guy Wulbrecht 350 likes on a football Monday.
I need it.
Returning to action.
I'm leaving if I don't get $350. I'm
say that.
more than done.
That's sad. That'd be sad. All right. I got Clancy on line 1.
Who was the best guest host while I was gone, by the way?
Wow. Well, not Clancy, because he ghosted my phone call. No, he spaced out. He was doing some online poker or something. The best guest host, it's tough. Everybody was good.
I can't believe you're actually going to answer this question. You shouldn't answer. You should say everybody was good.
I mean, they were good. They were phenomenal. I thought Coach Starks was fantastic. I thought Damon Dog was fantastic. Tyler from Bird Gang was great. Shane was great. Throwing back to our bets days. You know, Eric Ruby really stepped up when Espo was sick. And that was huge on a Friday. I was blessed by just an A-list crew.
Yeah. So what you're saying is everybody but Shane. That's what I got out of that.
No. Shane was a gem. We had a blast talking NFC West ball. I'll tell you what, Donnie Druin too was fantastic, accommodating my noon kickoff show last week when I had to go to WWE Monday Night Raw, which you know, people are like, why are they going early? Where's Wulbrecht? And I'm like, don't worry about that. Don't worry. This is a one-off. Don't worry about that. He was a good sport.
Donnie Donuts brings the heat every time. Love it.
He's a gem. Wulbrecht, the man himself, back today. I'm not going to rank him amongst the co-hosts, but the Cardinals running back was ranked with the rest of the greater NFL PFF ranking season. I love PFF, but they've been kind of all over the place with their rankings. How did James Conner do coming up on his 29th birthday? Let's check it out here. These are the PFF running back rankings. A very respectable 8th overall, Wulbrecht. What do you think about this?
Yeah, you know what? I like it. I think that it's fair. I was refreshed. I thought it was refreshing to open up the PFF article and see that. I think he's, you know, properly lengthy. His side, like, all that being said, Christian McCaffrey being at 7 is fraudulent. Like, just
it's over.
Like, don't give him the benefit of the doubt because of his 2023 season. The last thing we saw of Christian McCaffrey, he looks slow. We know he's banged up. He's got the wrong injuries that you don't want a running back at his age to have. And you look at, it's like, who does not belong when you just look at these numbers? And there's eye-popping numbers all the way down to 10. Like, look at Kyrie Williams' season. These are scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
1,400, nearly 1,500 scrimmage yards, 16 total touchdowns in 16 games. And then you got, you know, C-Mac frauding it up, 348 total yards and no touchdowns. It's like everybody else was super productive and earned their spot. I think James Conner, you can make a case for him to get up as high as 6 and push Bucky Irving down. But I don't have a big issue with him being 8th.
I don't either. It doesn't bother me. I would say the only pushback I have on this list in its entirety, I like Bijan Robinson. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is better. I would rather have Jahmyr Gibbs than Bijan. I know there's like a work share going on. I'll placate to our producer. No, I think Gibbs is better. I think he's more explosive. And I think he's the quickest thing to like LaDainian Tomlinson, Barry Sanders, like what I saw last year. But those are the top three, in my opinion. And then James Conner's in that next tier. James Conner, though, I think the bigger kind of coup for him is like this just cements him. We don't need a list to do it, but it's just one of the greatest signings in Cardinal history. Like I think like when he decides to hang him up, first of all, it's great that we're not having the conversation and he was re-signed by the franchise, during the year, and we don't have to speculate. Like James Conner is going to finish his career as a Cardinal. I believe that. I think he's going to end his tenure. He keeps himself in phenomenal shape. He's beloved by his coaches and teammates alike. I was told behind closed doors that the one free agent that Jonathan Gannon said, like, I got to have was James Conner. And then Budda Baker, I would agree, is probably in that mix. And maybe my source only heard offensively, but like, James Conner, to me, it's like, I think he'll be here as long as Jonathan Gannon's here. I think until a noticeable drop-off happens, James Conner will be the Cardinals running back. And that's no slight at Trey Benson, who last week both said that they're going to have 2 co-RB1s, and that's great because I think it'll prolong James's career. I just think his game is going to age well. As long as he stays healthy, he's not overly reliant on speed. I think his body is equipped to take about 60% of the share load into his 30s, like a Brandon Jacobs, these guys that age well as big body backs. Otis Anderson did it with the Giants. I think you see guys who were built on speed and like one cut and go, they fall off a cliff. I think we're going to see that with McCaffrey, whereas James, especially with Kyler Murray, you have to have somebody with a physical presence, and he does that tenfold. He's one of the best signings in franchise history.
Yeah, the blueprint, as JG calls James Conner. And, I don't know if there could be a higher compliment as far as his players go. And you talk about 2 guys trending in different directions between him and McCaffrey. And like they contradicts themselves, PFF does, when they break down these running backs who are right next to each other in the rankings. You've got G. Williker saying CMC doing commercials for AARP. Might as well. He says, we don't need you to tell you how good McCaffrey is when healthy. He owns a 91 cumulative PFF rushing grade over the past 3 years and led all running backs in PFF WAR in 2023. This is coming off the 2024 season, fellas. This is what they break down as far as James Conner. Now, keep in mind the cumulative running back score. James has a 92.1 cumulative PFF rushing grade over the past 3 years and is tied for 5th best in the league. He's just been doing it consistently, just like Christian McCaffrey. Now, he doesn't have like the big eye-popping numbers. His .20 PFF WAR mark in 2024 ranks 7th among running backs and forced 68 missed tackles. Like, that's the misconception about James Conner too, Johnny, is like he's a bruiser, but he caused the most missed tackles in the NFL last year. Now, most of those misses were after they couldn't wrap him up. It wasn't like the elusiveness. But James Conner, like we saw him out at the Kyler Murray Foundation celebrity softball game. He looks like he's as spry as ever. He's ready to roll going into year 30. And I think he does deserve to get. I don't know why, and they always do. They'll give the benefit of the doubt to Niners players just because they placate to their audiences a little bit, and it's unfortunate. I do also say Derrick Henry, he's got a case to be the number 1 overall back, but Saquon Barkley's the best running back in the league right now.
That's fine. I mean, that's just like, that shows PFF's like kind of like nerd mentality. And I love PFF, but it's just like, come on, guys, you're trying too much to go against the grain here, but it doesn't impact us. I mean, I'm not going to nitpick too much with a list that has a Cardinal player top 10. I think the bigger issue, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow, is like where they have Marv ranked and how embarrassing that is. But James Conner, again, I mean, he's an all-time great Arizona Cardinal player, and I just keep paying him and keep letting him tote the rock until the wheels fall off. And then, like, I think you and I are pretty convinced, like, there's going to be a time this year where Trey Benson's going to have to start a game. And then we're going to be able to see, like, okay, Trey Benson, what can you do with 25 plus touches in a game, right? Can you play? Because again, like, I was all in on a certain running back from ASU in Cam Scatterbo, right? And everybody's talking about, well, Cam Scatterbo is going to be featured with the New York Giants, and I've disassociated from that. And I need Trey Benson to back up what he said in his presser last week, which basically said, like, he has gained weight, but he is somehow faster. Okay, great. Like, the preseason this year is going to be so much more enticing because there's going to be a showcase of players that otherwise wouldn't be showcased.
Yeah.
The second team, Jacoby Brissett, Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, maybe Trey Benson, Tip Ryman. We're going to see these guys for a couple quarters. I want to see how the development of some of these first and second year players under Gannon and Austin Ford look. And we'll get our first insight because Connor, none of these established players are going to play.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just remember seeing on the Twitter streets via our guy Noah and PHNX_Cardinals. Benson said he's up 7 pounds.
That's a lot.
Right? Didn't he say that?
I mean, it was over 5
I can't remember the exact amount.
Okay. But he was already at 223. That's his listed weight. So this is going to be a guy that's going to be playing around 230. That's what James Conner's 233. They're both 6'1".
Can I just make a quick comparison though for people who haven't, not a comparison. And this is not a knock on Trey Benson. James Conner, his upper body is not normal. His proportions, his arm, his chest. Like I love Trey Benson. Trey Benson, I would imagine, this isn't a bad thing for a running back. Like most of the weight he's gained is probably in his lower body. James Conner's upper body looks like a bodybuilder. Yeah. So like they might on surface like have the same measurables. They are not the same. They're not the same.
All right.
Just wanted to throw that out there. Because I'm guilty anyway. Oh, this is another James Conner. And then you look at him and we're like, okay, they're not. There's only one James Conner.
But it's not like when people took like the size and the weight of like the president and then they show it's the same size and weight as Derrick Henry and then there's an athletic difference.
About that. Please make me forget about that again.
Yeah, I mean but Trey Benson 4'3", 940. If he's adding a little extra bulk, man, and Connor said himself when I was at the press conference before I went on leave, it was like he's setting, he's pulling the sled at absolutely just staggering numbers. Like
here's what we need from him.
Yeah,
I think we need like breakaway plays. Right. This offense is, and like I love James, and James can do that too. This offense is desperate for a 5-yard run to be turned into like a 50-yard run.
Right. But look, they don't lack in explosive plays in the run game, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think that if there's a status quo as far as the run game as it's been the last 2 years, like great. Like I mean, the next level is Philly. I mean, that's really like there's not many teams like Philly and Baltimore is really who they're looking up at really around the league. And Detroit. I see you, Noah.
I'm pushing back on in the chat with Trey Benson's a home run guy. I think on the surface level he needs to be. He wasn't last year. Does anybody know his longest run last year?
Like 19 yards?
It was 20 yards against the Packers, right? Everything else like 14, 17, 10, 15. I mean, there were games he didn't have a 10-yard run. But he's a good player, and I think I've made this comp before. It's like he is, in a lot of ways, a James Conner light where he needs rhythm carries, and he could have 7 for 17, and in the second half he's got 15 for 100, right? Like I think he can be that kind of player. But you already have James, so that's why I think we were all infatuated with Michael Carter because he was a true complement to James.
I'd say the difference in what separates Connor and puts him continually like in a higher tier running back. Obviously, it's the durability over the last couple of years. I mean, going into year 5 as the Arizona Cardinals running back has outlasted what anybody would have ever predicted.
Yeah,
but just his ability in game to wear down defenses is something that is you can't discount how impressive it is. Like he gets stronger as the game wears on. And that's exactly what you need from that position. And I don't think it's something that you can just say, hey, turn into that back, Trey Benson. It's something that you have to kind of develop into.
He is a running back in the NFL that can win you games. There's those 10 guys on that list. It feels like that's the group. What about off-ball safety corner overdrafted linebackers that can win you games? What about that? Was everything about that? Isaiah Simmons was talking to the media, New York Times out of Green Bay, because whatever, it's the offseason, and talked about, guess what, his usage, and it's the everlasting meme of it didn't work for them, but it might work for us. The Green Bay Packers edition. Noah, man, let's cue up the quote here. Isaiah Simmons talking about his past and his present. And this is a paraphrase here from the New York Times. What I ran to most of my career is everybody wants me to do everything. Oh, wow. As opposed to letting me get really good at one thing first. What would you say that is? The former Clemson star said, I fully believe in Half's plan. That's the DC for the Packers. He's just letting me lock in and learn a small portion first before we even think about expanding to anything else. That's something I really appreciate because I never really had that opportunity to just hone in on one position. Lies. It's hard enough to get into the NFL, let alone to stay as well as be effective at a position. So just being able to lock in on one thing, that's been, I feel like, huge for me. My versatility, I feel like, is a little bit of a gift and a curse. Well. He's just too talented to succeed, I guess, is how I'm reading that. Isaiah Simmons, you're like young Sheldon. You just got too many gifts, and you stand in your own way, and it's all everybody else's fault. That is incorrect. Where do we begin?
Man, you had me until young Sheldon. I don't know if I'll ever get a reference from that. It's a TV series I haven't watched a second of, but
it's a fixture at my house with my son on Netflix, unfortunately.
Isaiah Simmons barely hanging on by a thread. And much like last week, and I thought you guys did a good job with the Marco Wilson going after his former organization and having a kind of a bone to pick with him. You see Isaiah Simmons is looking, and you're going to try to use any excuse in the book to point out why he's been a failure as an 8th overall pick. I mean, that's just you've got all the different defensive coordinators and coordinators that have had success in this league, and you're going to say, well, they just used me wrong, and takes zero accountability for his own role in this.
He is the worst. I think he is my least favorite player the Cardinals have drafted in my adult life. More than Rosen, Kim Dichie. He is the worst because I hated the pick when they picked him. Yeah. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He spurned this show not once but twice. He is all about what can football do for me.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis gave him an opportunity when they got here and said, pick up. Look, it's like the exact same thing they did with Zaven Collins. Pick a position, any position, and we'll let you run with it. Remember, they played him at safety.
Yeah.
And he couldn't play. And then he lollygagged and screwed around at a preseason game. And they're like, enough of this. And they traded him away.
Vance Joseph and who else do we have? Wink Martindale, whoever the DC for the Giants was last year. No, Jeff Hafley is the one who had the key the entire time to unlock good old Isaiah Simmons. I mean, also keep in mind it's June 16th. He signed just over a month ago, and he's saying, just trust Half's plan. Half's plan, baby. Is that a Drake song? Half's plan?
Yeah.
And Half we trust. Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator, Green Bay Packers.
Doesn't it just feel like it's a guy that is just trying to stay relevant, and you want the rest of the league to feel like, what are we missing out on? It's everybody else's fault. We just talked about the allure of the unknown. It's like, no, man, I've watched you play for like 6 years. You aren't good. You aren't any good. Then he talked about in the article, I didn't even put this in there, that he was like depressed when he would only play like 3 snaps for the Giants. For the Giants. Right. Can anybody name me a linebacker on the Giants right now? And he couldn't crack that. You're telling me if the Giants thought he could play at linebacker and he was like, I want to play linebacker because that's what he's playing in Green Bay. He's like, I'm a linebacker. Okay. The Giants and the poverty defense that they have sported during Wink Martindale's tenure with Brian Dable, they wouldn't have been like, we can use this kid. He's an athlete. In the in mid-20, he's 24, 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
He can't play. He can't play. And it's unfortunate. Some guys can't play and they're just like accepting I'm a backup, whatever. But the fact that it's almost kind of like you're bamboozling teams because they go back and they think about, well, we could be the team and we can unlock your potential. It is gross. But I see it in the chat, see it in the comments. People like that transaction hits like nothing else for your a fan base. It's like, oh man, we stole Isaiah Simmons. He will cost the Packers a game or two this year if he's put in a position.
Well, more like he's not going to be able to like cosplay as this versatile piece on defense any longer. Like he can't
cosplay linebacker.
He's gonna be a special teamer. That's what they signed him for. The Green Bay Packers didn't sign him to be a guy to impact their defense whatsoever. Like those days are over. Like the Giants, they got him for a 7th round pick, and what the fan base wanted to say and what the organization initially thought, they learned very quickly that he's a guy that you can't rely upon down in and down out to make plays for you, to be in the right spot. He can't do the right things. The guys that got weeded out from this team, it's evident what their issue was. It's not a usage problem. It's not a talent issue. They don't love football. And like, I don't know if he's ever going to be able to find it. Like, it's not just something you wake up and say, hey, I'm going to apply, especially with comments like this and blaming everybody else for how he was misutilized at the NFL level.
The article is literally titled, "Can former top 10 pick Isaiah Simmons be Packers' secret weapon on defense?" And that is one of the most irresponsible. Just turn the tape on. Mike Schneidman, who wrote the article, Isaiah Simmons' best career year was in 2022 when he racked up some faux stats on a bad team.
Right.
4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. But you see the stat, that's like box score scouting. And then you watch the game. There is not a player that's worse on film, like perception-wise to player, than Isaiah Simmons. And I get it. He was asked to cover tight ends. Like, that's why he was drafted. Remember, the Cardinals couldn't stop a tight end. Literally is maybe the worst cover safety linebacker.
Look out, George Kittle. You've met your match. It's Isaiah Simmons.
It's one of the most embarrassing things.
Yeah, like George Kittle just ate.
Travis Kelce, Hall of Fame tape off that game alone in the opener 20.
And then, like, what about the loafs? What about the business decisions that he made out there that are right there on film that he can't run from?
No,
like you can say all these things you want to the New York Times, but the film, it suggests something very different for Isaiah Simmons. It's not just hey, I was drinking out of a fire hose my entire NFL career.
It is one of the worst draft picks in the history of this franchise. It was coupled by the COVID year, and maybe they didn't get enough time with them. And I mean, you think about, I'm just going to read some players drafted in the top 10. Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Tua, Andrew Thomas, Justin Herbert, Derek Brown, Tristan Wirfs at 13, CeeDee Lamb at 17, Justin Jefferson 22, Brandon Ayuk. There was some busts in there, like a Jalen Reagor and Chase on the pass rusher. AJ Terrell was great. And then you take an off-ball linebacker. And then like Patrick Queen's taken later in the draft, makes the Pro Bowl, right? I mean, to me, I think it's up there as like the worst draft pick of the last 10 years for this team, outside of Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen's the worst because the compensation they gave up. I mean, like, Jedrick Wills was good before he had an injury. He went 2 spots behind him.
Yeah.
Wirfs was the easiest plug-and-play pick. And they said, Wirfs can go in the Hall of Fame potentially. And they said,
that class, that tackle class, projected to be really good. And it took some time. Like, Wills at the beginning, Mekhi Becton turning into a good guard here, like pretty much at the end of his rookie deal.
Austin Jackson's been solid for the Dolphins.
Wirfs was like, he was there. There's no question about Wirfs. Like, but I will say, as much as I like Wirfs, and I think like you could pull up the old podcast talking about it, like leading up to it. I love Wirfs, but if you want something for Thursday's Frosty Cold Takes, just look at my Twitter timeline. I was an Isaiah Simmons guy. I was early on.
I'm very wrong on draft season. I have receipts. That was one I feel like I can proudly say I didn't get it. I didn't like it. And that's aged okay for your boy.
I talked myself into that pick. Oh man, I did. I was like, this is Simmons makes it to 8. You run to the podium when it's like, well,
it's like people would say like he's the top 3 pick in the draft, so you have to take him at 8. I'm like, what about the other teams that are like, we don't want him?
Yeah,
that was the worst for sure. Oh man, what a great day to have you back to talk Isaiah Simmons bust factor.
It was I just can't believe it that somebody's actually taking the time, and that's the story that hit the Twitter streets today. But the fan base, like, here's the thing about the Packers fan base. I think that there are a lot of really well-informed Packers fans out there. There are some diehard fans that know ball, but then like it's such a big, broad fan base. There's a lot of casuals in there that will eat that up. The idea that, hey, good old Jeff Hafley is the guy to unlock. He's the guy to unlock Isaiah Simmons.
What's a bigger bust, Isaiah Simmons at 8 or Jeff Okudah at 3?
I think Jeff Okudah could play before his injury. He got injured. I think that's tougher though. No, because the Lions passed on a bunch of good players in the process. But the Cardinals liked Okudah, if that makes you feel better or worse. Here's why the Packers signed.
He wasn't viewed as like a polarizing prospect or anything. Like Jeffrey Okudah coming out of Ohio State, you're like, this seems like a pretty sure thing as far as this draft goes. And it was, unfortunately, like always happened. People were wrong.
You could just make an argument like his career's been derailed by his injury, probably similar like Jonathan Cooper. Isaiah Simmons has been healthy this whole time. And it's kind of made things worse.
That's a great point. He hasn't dealt with anything.
No, he's just been healthy. He's just been bad. Like, hey, I saw today, and this is gross too. If we're just getting into segment 3 grossness, people are just slobbering all over the Broncos defense. People are saying the Broncos are going to have the best defense in the NFL, that they signed all these ex-49ers. They played a dog water schedule last year offensively, and they juiced up all their stats. Yeah. So people are all in on the Broncos defense this year. Mm-hmm. Vance Joseph wanted nothing to do with Isaiah Simmons. He wouldn't play him, couldn't start him, and you know how we feel about Vance Joseph. He's a little bit fool's gold defensive coordinator. Even Vance was like, no, thank you. I don't want this. Right. If Isaiah Simmons could play, Vance Joseph would have been like, sign him. Let's get him. Yeah. No,
the only place he would play him was the slot, really. And that was a disaster class. Yeah, you look at the Broncos and the offenses that they really didn't have to go up against. Like, they're good. They're a good defense. They are. But to say like they're the next, Ravens of the early 2000s or Bucks, they're not like a generational type defense.
The schedule that they played last year will go down in history as one of the worst of the quarterbacks they had to face. One of the most fraudulent 10-win seasons of all time. And I love our friends at DMVR, but I would love to fraud our way to a playoff spot because then you get in. But it's just not
you face a big boy offense like they did the Bengals. They gave up 30. Yep. You face even the Chargers. They put up 34. We saw that Chargers offense couldn't get into the end zone against the Cardinals defense. Like they're hanging a 30 burger on them. 32 from Jameis Winston in primetime game. Let's not you got the defensive play of the year. You got some gaudy stats, but let's not lose the plot here.
The plot is that they ate against a bad schedule last year. And then this year, everybody's got tape. Everybody knows what they want to do. And I think they're relying on a couple broken down players in Ufunga and that other off-ball linebacker from San Francisco who is already hurt. Not Fred Warner, but the other guy.
Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, Dre Greenlaw has already had an injury. So Cardinals, and I think we go back to our original point about Walter Nolen. It's like, if you're going to bank on something, bank on young players, bank on youth. Youth is what lasts. Old and hurt, guys who were hurt previously and are old aren't just suddenly going to bounce back and play every snap and have it be seamless. Like usually when it starts to go downhill for these guys, it stays that way. And that is my biggest argument. If you feel like you can develop Elijah Simmons and some of these younger players, it's like, do not cut Dante Stills because of a bad contract. No. And here's the great part about Jonathan Gannon is Jonathan Gannon will go to Monty Osborne and be like, we're just going to have to chalk last offseason up as bust because I'm not cutting Dante Stills. And Monty Osborne will be like, no problem. That's why I drafted Walter Nolen. So we wouldn't have to just double down on our mistakes, which is that's how it should work.
Yeah. Hey, like I missed out on that one. Let's move forward. What's the best path forward? It's not, hey, just trying to make this work, make this fit.
What's the plan? Yeah.
We missed out on this when we were talking about James Conner. I thought the Sleeper HQ had a nice tweet as far as breaking down how James Conner is perceived, especially in the fantasy community. They got Bucky Irving, who just he's sitting there and he's saying his stat line, and he's getting, oh, that's sweet from his female coworker, and then James Conner's rolling. He's got the similar stat line, and they're calling HR on him. This is.
Oh, that's good.
The rules, James. You know.
Hello, human resources. That's an all-timer.
Yeah,
it's the ageism thing. It's like James Conner is one of the most steady, sure-handed picks in fantasy football. I've drafted him the last couple. It's just like chalk it up: 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. You're not going to get the Ache or whatever, or the Saquon, like 4 touchdowns and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also going to get a guy who's just, it's like 8 to 12 points, 10 to 15 points every Sunday.
He's never been a household name. He was a guy that was cast off as far as the NFL, years ago, like right after Pittsburgh moved on and he came here. He was an NFL afterthought, and then like nobody was brave enough to wrap their arms around him and say, hey, like you're as good as his statistics that improved each year have shown to be. So it's like, oh, Bucky Irving out of Oregon, late round pick, like that's something that happens all the time in the NFL. As far as what's going on with James Conner, an aging running back who gets better and isn't a household name like Derrick Henry, that just very rarely happens, and people just never truly embrace it.
To me, it just goes down to the Cardinals need to now double down and find more sure-handed players like James Conner. It's like what James Conner is now. I think Trey McBride is entering that category, right? Of just like 800 to 1,000 yards and hopefully like 6 to 8 touchdowns every year. Sure thing, right? Kyler Murray needs to be in that camp of he's healthy every year. You're going to get 25 plus total touchdowns. Some years you might get 30 plus. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., this needs to be the start of 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns every year. Because I feel like with the amount of pressure, and we talked about it, Damon and I did on Friday's show, the pressure scale with this team and this offense. I mean, like I looked at PFF Bo before the show. They had the Cardinals as the 12th best offense in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
Yet we're talking about it like it's some poverty unit because they didn't get it done when they needed to. The pieces are there. The pieces are there and tenfold. They go deep on the offensive line at running back. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea after Michael Wilson at receiver. They have 3 to 4 tight ends. They've got a nice backup quarterback now to K1. Like if you're Drew Petzing, to me, it's like at the end of the day, this offense needs to be hovering around, as you said, from 23 points, they need to get up to about 24.5 to 25 points per game. That's what it has to be.
You do that with an improved defense, that's a playoff team.
Yeah.
An easy playoff. Like not, hey, we need things to break the right way in week 18 of the season. Like that punches your ticket pretty easily.
Ray, $4.99, a super chat. Welcome back, Bo, and congratulations to you and your family. Thank you so much, Ray.
Appreciate that, Ray. I love the profile pic. Look at that. Leave a like, and then there's mobbed up Johnny Venerable and me on draft day.
It was a special night, that draft. We're 2 for. Here's what I'll say about Gila. We may not be winning a lot of games on Sundays during our watch party. We think that'll change this fall. We're 2 for 2 with draft parties there. Marv, Darius, Walter Nolen, like we're not talking ourselves into third tight ends a la CHGO at their draft parties, which was really unfortunate. So, that to me, it's like we feel pretty good about our draft parties at Gila.
Yeah. Make sure to take advantage today. 30% off flash sale on our merch. It's going on for Spirit Week. Lots in store the rest of the week for Spirit Week. A special guest tomorrow. Johnny, any guesses who it is? Do you know?
Well, I know who it is because you told me who it is. So, but I'm going to play coy and say I have no idea. But
Noah doesn't know who it is.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Damn.
Yeah, it's Michael Irving.
Are they coming in studio?
Michael Irving?
Irvin.
Are they doing a remote hit or are they coming in studio?
Remote.
Gotcha.
They said they didn't want to be in the same studio as you.
Well, good news for them. I'm at a different studio. Well. Wow. This is going to be a banner week.
It's an all-time great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Irvin.
What about Wednesday's show? Have we decided what we're going to do, what we're swapping out?
How do we figure that out? So we got to play
up to us?
musical chairs.
I think when Michael Irvin comes in, he'll tell us.
So we're supposed to have another PHNX sports personality. One, we got to figure out who's willing to come on the show, who can stand us, and then two, who's available beyond, because I know a lot of people around here don't like to work past 5.
And we want, like, full transparency, we want somebody on the show, I think, making their show debut.
Right. No Damon Dog. We've had enough Damon Dog.
Yeah, I don't want some slop. I don't want people a redo here. I want a fresh face thrown into the fire, peppered with deep cut Cardinal questions. I want to talk about developmental undrafted free agents. I want to talk about the 3rd and 4th unit on the defensive line. That's who I want to see on Wednesday. And then see if they're really ready for prime time.
You want to put them to the test. Their Cardinals ball knowledge.
Absolutely. To me, it's like it comes down to, like, if we're swapping out, like, let's go. Because if you and I are asked to go talk Rising, or, you know, for me, if I'm asked to go talk Phoenix Suns basketball, I'm gonna let it rip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it rip. They don't want me on that show. They had a full house. Gerald's back from paternity leave.
Yeah.
If I had come on that show today, people would have been ghost-faced because I would have been taking a sledgehammer to this franchise.
I want to see it so badly. Is the Katie, while on the roster, I need the Johnny Venerable takes on that show. If they don't do that, it's just a sign that they're scared.
To me, it's like I would have a conversation people aren't willing to have about Devin Booker. I mean, Mark Stein came on that show and started talking about Devin Booker, and people were pearl clutching. And I'm like, maybe listen to Mark Stein. I look at the two teams in the finals. You can turn your SHIT around pretty quickly here. And people are like, let's play the hits and let's win 40 games a year. And it's like, no. This show is cutthroat and is endured a rebuild. Why don't you do the same? Yeah. We're trying to take shortcuts. You know who did shortcuts? Steve Keim. How'd that work out?
Yeah. This show, we got alligator skin. Okay.
That's right. I'm not married to any player. I'm trying to win. We're trying to win, guys. You trying to get the A seed? You want to play in game? Hey, Eric Ruby. Hey, Gerald, you want to play in game? You trying to win chips? I don't know. We'll see. Put me on that show. Things will go awry quickly. CVK, that's why I'd be a great addition on that show. I can't back it up. Here's how I back it up. I don't know stats, advanced metrics, but I know, like, when I watch the Suns late in the year, they suck. They stink. How are they going to do that? Probably need new players.
Oh, man. Ray Farm Frams asking,
Brian,
will we see
Devin Booker's
you
not
on
Larry Fitzgerald? Cut that
Lee
out.
Baxter's Sun Devils? Yeah, we got to get the invite. Just give us the invite.
Oh, come in. G. Wilker's asking me, what are my thoughts on a Katie's preferred trade destination? If he doesn't have a no trade clause, I would say F it, and you're going where I'm sending you to Timbuktu if I get the best package. I don't care what you think, Kevin Durant. Hey, Kevin.
He gets the Rafi Devers exit, like with Boston's like, hey, don't you get on the team plane, and also you got to take a cab to get back to where you got to go.
Kevin, I was born on the Twitter streets, okay? I've seen it all. I've done it all. You're on Twitter even too much for me. It's over for you, bro. Like, it's not – I'm on Twitter, but we prioritize it it doesn't impact our ability to do this show at a high level, take care of my family. You have no priorities outside of the Phoenix Suns, and you can't get it done. Get off Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if one of us gets the call from somebody else.
We're losing fans rapidly on this show based on my Phoenix Suns takes.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
I'll tell you what, though. Our Phoenix Suns show, second to none. It was tremendous today. Over 600 watching live. Right. Just the most up-to-date insight. So check them out. Espo every day, Southwest bias. But, like, I think you and I are probably in the same camp on the Suns. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Very similar. Very similar. You just are a little bit more outspoken than I am. But I just want that fateful day where Katie jumps into your DMs because of the special musical chairs segment you did with the PHNX Suns. Also, yeah, just drop a comment who you want to see us bring on from the PHNX Sports family as we continue Spirit Week. Big ups to Walter Nolen III speaking today. And of course, check out our locker, our merchandise locker for the 30% flash sale. Get your favorite shirt, or also out there on Twitter, tag us in your favorite shirt. We will retweet that. Not a second delay on that. We'll get that retweeted, and we're thankful for anybody that's repping our merchandise. Very thankful for that. Thanks to everybody for the welcoming back to me. My family and I are excited. My wife's probably pumped. I'm out of the house and back to work, and it's good to be with my guys, Johnny and Noah.
Drop us a comment below. Who do you want to pop in on Wednesday?
No, get anybody. He's fired.
Yeah.
Did you finally say goodbye to him, by the way?
I did. We embraced. Wednesday, surprise guest. Tomorrow, Wednesday, pop-ins. Everybody loves a pop-in. Great to see my friend. It's just great to have my friend back. It's Wulbrecht. It's Noah. I'm Johnny. See you on Tuesday.
We all silly like the mayor.